We are here this morning with Renato Ascoli, CEO of North America for IGT. Renato, we're going to change from our script a little bit and ask you about your new role, because you were once CEO of US and Interactive, and you now have a considerably broader role and newer titles. So tell us about it.
Thank you, thank you. It's a comeback, actually. I've come to the gaming business 3.5 years ago, but my turf, I would say, is very much lottery. So I began in Italy managing those, and I moved to Providence and stayed over 3 years. And only recently I got involved into the sparkling gaming business. So now my, let's say, new responsibility is combining gaming and lottery. And so product marketing and technology is my global responsibility to IGT. And I lead all the customer-facing teams as regards to lottery and gaming customers. So that's it.
And considering that IGT is the largest lottery company and the largest slot company in the world, that's a pretty considerable authority.
Thank you. It's a nice place to be in.
Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
In past years, the past 2 or 3 years, it seems a lot of discussion was on the mergers and the integration, and all of that, I guess, is mostly behind. What is IGT like today, and how satisfied are you folks with the results of those integrations?
Well, I should start by saying that we are not satisfied by definition, so we cannot be, and particularly given the stock market we see here. Although, as you know very well, this is not entirely attributable to the performance of each individual company. But if I look back 3.5 years ago into the combination of the small G-Tech Spilo component into the big IGT portfolio, there's 2 things I'm particularly happy about. And one thing, and by the way, those are the areas where we were told by customers that the legacy IGT was suffering most, which make things even better from my standpoint. One is the core video segment of the business. I truly believe that what we are going to show here at G2E this year is the best product line that IGT had over a decade. And I can talk about it if you want. And the second is systems. I have distinctive memory when I first came here about customers saying, what is IGT planning to do? Are they going to use a system as an opportunity for synergies? Do you really want to continue operating in that area or not? And today, what I see is the fact that IGT was chosen for the 4 most important, biggest openings over the last 12 months. And we have been chosen for the big opening in Everett next year with Win. So we are very proud about it. And even more importantly, I do believe we are bringing the best mobile solution to the market. So these 2 areas are something that I'm really proud to share with you today. But of course, as a general statement, we always are seeking for criticism, we are always seeking for feedback. We still feel there's a lot to be improved, and that should be our, let's say, normal mindset, I would say.
Okay. Well, let's talk about products then. What are those things that you're proud of? You can elaborate a little.
Yeah, well, first of all, I should be starting by core, as I said, so core product sales. I think we have a nice lineup of hardware. So the recently launched cabinet, the 27 inches, is doing very, very well. Even compared to the Curve that we launched about a year ago, I mean, the penetration rate is outstanding and is increasing at a much higher rate than all the other cabinets that we launched recently. And even more importantly, I would say that the content we've been focusing on, I think you remember me saying that we decided, because of the poor performance of content that IGT was delivering at that time, we decided to test our contents on a much more, let's say, critical path. So we use focus groups, customer feedback in the early stage of the definition of the games. And we decided not to launch a game widely in the market, not until we have test banked it. So we call it test bank, a 90 days experience on the floor in real life conditions. So if and only if a content can, let's say, manage to get over a minimum threshold, that's when we deliver to the market. So recently, the amount of what we call A or A plus games, so the top performing games, has increased a lot. The two recently games, you may have heard of it, Scarab. I know that you kindly pointed that out in your let's say, top 10 list, is doing very well, but there's another Solar Disc that's doing also very well. And we have a bunch of new ones that are about to be delivered here at G2E. So I can proudly and convincingly talk to customers today and ask them to buy a GT with a lot of confidence.
You know, gaming, I think a decade ago we could have said it's a gambling business. I think today we all almost have to call it a technology business. Right. There are so many changes between interactive and going cashless, and the advent of social gaming. And just update us a little bit about where international game technology is in the technology and emerging gaming areas.
You're right. I think you're right. Although I should say that compared to my early expectation, the path of adoption takes a little bit longer than I would have thought. That's my only, let's say, little remark that I have compared to your view. But your view is absolutely true, and I'm a strong believer of what you say. We started the journey exactly 3.5 years ago, and we elected to bring to the market something new. At that time, there was a cashless solution. We actually started with a contactless solution, and so we started removing the card to customers who would want to adopt our solution. Now the cardless solution will go into a cashless solution. The next step will be to adopt a corporate, or let's say, or a property card that will combine fidelity programs with cashless transaction, and potentially creating opportunity for customer to enter into a direct one-on-one dialogue with them. So a new frontier for marketing, if you want to see it that way. And this is where I believe the market will be going, at a different pace compared to what I thought. But this is where, as you said, digital solution will merge into, I would say, floor land-based solution. And we are beginning to see something about that. We are showing some solution where, or some gains, where you can bring some of the, let's say, the points or items you collect on the floor into a mobile experience, or vice versa, a game that can allow you to get some credits that you can bring into a slot machine on the floor. I don't see any revolution in a short period of time, but over time this will be more and more frequent, I believe.
One thing that's revolutionary in the United States this year, the hot topic of this year, is the legalization or the authorization that it can be legal of sports betting. And we know that IGT has been very active in recent months, ever since the Supreme Court decision. Can you update us a little bit on where you are in sports betting, how big you think it can be for IGT? Can it be a needle mover for such a large company? And then maybe finally on that line is, you've got a lot of competitors out there with platforms too. What's your competitive advantage?
Right. So, well, I tend to be humble in designing the magnitude of the opportunity. And the reason for that is not that I do not believe in the 5, 8, 10 million $10 billion opportunity that may occur at some point in time. I think it will be the right idea of what the market size will be like. I'm more humble in the expectation, in setting the expectation on the right timeline, because I do believe, as you know very well, that the opportunity will appear, but it will take a lot to get there because of local regulation. So the structure of the opportunity is dictated by single jurisdiction deciding how, if, and when to deliver that opportunity to the market. When that happens, and it is in Nevada, it's going to happen soon in many jurisdictions, I think that we as IGT have a lot to say about it. be aware that we have, say, built an opportunity in Italy about 11 years ago. At that time, I actually was managing the operations there. And the moment the regulation allows us to do so, we started up a new brand, a new operational activity, and we became second in the market in 18 months. So we have the skill and the technology to run the books in a B2C mode. But other than that, we've been serving lotteries across the globe for about 12 years. So we served Singapore, we serve Belgium, we are still serving Mexico. So we have the capacity to offer that as well. And in recent times, today, we are serving about 18, 20 customers, 20 properties, I should better say, in North America, in a couple of jurisdictions. So not only in Nevada, but Mississippi, New Jersey, and West Virginia. So we had the people, we had the technology, we had even the mindset to start supporting customers in that area, and we are hoping to do it even more significantly in a short period of time. You also may have heard that we recently cut a deal with William Hill. This is an exclusivity agreement for USA alone and limited to the lottery scope, so there's nothing like that pertaining to the gaming area. But we believe that combining forces with a strong local operator can also enhance the opportunity to use sports betting as an additional source of revenue for our customers. So we are looking at the market as it evolves. We are confident that we can provide good support. We are, as a team, fully persuaded that there will be a long path to grow.
I think in the U.S. there's a tendency to focus on individual companies, to look at Boyd Gaming or Caesars, and to not be as alert to the fact that the lotteries would like to play in this game too. And as you mentioned, you have your lottery agreement, so IGT is well positioned if lotteries become the vehicle or one of the vehicles to distribute sports betting to be involved in that.
Right. Well, we believe lottery should be one of the vehicles. I do not see why let's say, distributing sports betting opportunity in casinos and lottery outlets should be conflicting too much. So clearly there might be some level of competition, but I believe that, and this is my experience of what I saw in Europe, that the sports betting outlet that you may see in UK, that I tend to, let's say, associate to a casino sports betting arena, can in fact live with, we call them corners, so small locations in tobacconists, in smaller distribution outlets, where sports betting is an opportunity to be added to a scratch and win ticket or even to a coffee you can pay at the counter. So the two distribution channels to some extent may coexist. And this is what we are, let's say, offering our view to regulators for that to become reality.
We talked a little bit about how the journey, as you called it, that IGT has made over the past several years. And we've talked a little bit about some of the things that are happening today, cashless and sports betting and so on. What kind of company do you think IGT will be, say, 3 years from now?
Difficult to say, but I may contradict what you just commented about IGT. I mean, technology is clearly potentially a game changer, and we'll be continue investing a lot in innovation in that area. But one thing I can promise you is that IGT as a management group will still be focusing a lot on people-player research. This is something that I'm bringing in my DNA, probably because I started my job as a B2C operator. This is what I've been asked to deliver to the North American market about 6 years ago. And this is what I will be continuing to do over here, because regardless what technology can bring, keeping the focus on the market, keeping the focus on the player is the best North Star for any development going forward.
Right. Finally, we're going to have 30,000 people here at G2E this week. When those 30,000 people come by the IGT booth, what must they absolutely see before they leave?
I would say two things. Solar Disk is our superstar core video product sale on the new cabinet, and I would say Wheel of Fortune 4D. So the most iconic brand in the industry on the highest, let's say, bleeding technology that we can provide.
Okay. Renato, thank you. It's very informative as always.
Always good to see you.
And congratulations
Thank you very much.
again.
Thank you very much.